Hi there. In this video, I want to talk about how to parse time series in Modeler using open source extension node. When you work with analytics project, it might take you a lot of time to clean your data. And Modeler has many out-of-box nodes for you to do data transformation. They are grouped under the records ops and field ops tabs. So the time theory data we want to look at in this session is a little bit more complicated. So you might be struggling a bit, especially when you are new to this type of tasks in Modeler. So the log file looks like this. It comes from some log files for user logins. For each user, it has a long string of timestamps when the user login. So I print out two examples here. So the first user log in a lot of times. So the string is very long and each timestamp is separated by a single space. And the second user only logged once, so there's only one timestamp. So what we want to do is split this string into different rows for the user. So for the first access column, there will only be one timestamp for each of the user. So as an open source user, you may know it is very easy to achieve in Python or R. So even if you don't know, you can simply do a Google search. So here is a function I grabbed from Stack Overflow. So it does exactly what we want to do here. So if it asks for three input. The first is the data frame you want to perform the transformation. And the second is a column that contains the long strings. And the third parameter it's looking for is the separator. So in our case, it's a single space. So if you perform that you apply that function to our data frame, this is what you got. So that's what expected. So now the problem is how we can bring this into Modeler and make use of it as if it is an organic node in Modeler. So by that I mean if you connect that node with another node, the downstream node will be able to pick the data produced by this open source node. So currently in Modeler, we don't have an IDE, so it's recommended to develop your code in your own IDE of your choice, like RStudio or the Jupyter Notebook I'm using right now. And then you just copy and paste the code into Modeler and then use it as a runtime engine. So now I will just walk you through the code here and explain how you should construct your code so as to make it work. So the version I will be using is 18.2.1. So all recent versions Modeler come with PySpark when you install the software. So the first thing you need to do is to import the libraries and get the SPSS context. So this is the code of how to get that. And then this is a function I just shown you earlier. And then the next session is the most critical part. I've spent a lot of time figuring this out. So Modeler will expect two things to pick up data from upstream nodes. So one is the schema or data models, if you use the terminology used by Modeler. And the other is the data set itself. So you can, if either of them is missing, Modeler will be complaining about it. It won't be able to pick up the data with the downstream node. So best practice is you can use this if-else statement to make that happen. So under if, don't change this condition and define your output schema there. So for my data set, I have 3 columns. The first one is the name of the user, and the second is the count of the logins for that user, and the third one is the login time. And then I specify the type of that column within that schema. And then you have to and then use this line to set the output schema in the SPSS context. And then under else, you can do whatever you need to do to perform your transformation. So so the first line is to get the input data from the upstream node. Keep in mind, the framework we are using is PySpark, so the data frame is Spark data frame. So you have to convert that into pandas data frame if you want to leverage this function as it is. And then after you apply the function, just change it back to the Spark data frame and set it in the SPSS context. So this is the code we will be copy and paste into Modeler. So now let me move to my Modeler. So here I already have an import node that read in CSV file, so we can preview, and then it is like this. So now I will find the extension transform node. It is under the record ops tab right here, and then connect this to. So if you open it, you will see we actually support both Python and R. So the reason I chose Python is because if you use R, you might need to install R essentials for Modeler so as to make your R code to work. So I don't want to go that route, so that's why I choose the Python, because it's there out of box. So I will paste my code and then click apply and make sure everything is saved. Then I will attach a table node so that we can check on if everything works. Okay, so you can see the data has already been successfully transformed into the format I want to be. So you can always reuse the code whenever you have similar tasks. I will put the link to the code in the description box below if you want to reference it. So now the data is better structured, and we can run further analysis on the output data. So in the next video, I will talk about how to extract features from time series and use the anomaly detection node in Modeler to detect suspicious users. That will be all for this video. Hope you will find it helpful, and thanks for watching.